Good morning to everybody. Let us close our eyes. Let us feel the showers of blessings all around us, within us. There is nothing to go for. Everything is coming. We just need to be calm and quiet to receive it and feel the joy. Presence of God and Gurus all around. Within, in the breath. To remain in the fontanel. And feel the grace in the body, in the mind. Om Sadashiva-Samarambham Shyama-Charana-Madhyamam Asmadacharya-Paryantam Vande Guru-Paramparam Shruti-Smriti-Purananam Alayam Karunalayam Namami Bhagavat-Padam Shankaram Loka-Shankaram Ishvaro Gururatmaiti Murti-Bheda-Vibhagini Vyomavad-Vyapta-Dehaya Dakshinamurtaye Namaha. We bow to the Supreme Lord, who is the only Guru, manifesting in different forms, in the form of Lahiri Baba, in the form of Sri Guruji. We bow to the presence of Sri Guru as our inner self. God, Guru, and our inner self is principally one. May our speech be blessed by the Supreme Lord. May our hearing be purified. May our understanding be clear. May the blessings of God and Gurus guide us in each and every moment. Om Tat Sat Om. Please open your eyes. Good morning to all of you from Seattle Ashram, Kriya Dhyana Mandira. Today is actually a very auspicious day. Today is the Dola Purnima, or the full moon day, where Lord comes out of his temple and goes on a palanquin and visits different homes. So traditionally, even today also, he goes to different homes and people arrange something so that he stays back in front of your home. So it is an invitation. So people invite the Lord in the few days before. So the palanquin bearers will bring the Lord Krishna usually, and with his friends and families. And then people offer sweets and different kinds of things. So it's called Dola Purnima. And today is also, today and tomorrow, Sunday and Monday, is also the auspicious event of color festival or Holi. So my pranams to all of you. May the blessings of God and Gurus purify us. So today, I did not know, but somehow it came. Today's topic is about purity. The reason when I was asked to join this discussion, I gave this. I thought that we'll discuss about purity because I am studying this particular subject from Yoga Sutra. So that would be our discussion. Purity is not very complex, it's very simple. But we'll go deeper into understanding what this purity is and why we need to purify ourselves. What is the need of it? Why can't we just leave it as it is? Identifying the impurities, steps to purify it, and examining ourselves whether the steps are getting success and whether what we understand by purity is being achieved. So this would be our sections of discussion. Whatever we are discussing is mostly referred from Yoga Sutra book, and after the discussion we can be in touch if you would like to have a little bit more reference. By nature, if we look at our life from an external perspective, by nature we would like to be clean and clear. That is by nature. Even in animals also, by inherent nature, when a calf is born, the mother cleans it. So there is another good news that we may hear, that from Temple of Compassion, one of our calf who has become a cow now might give birth today, hopefully. Anyway, so when a cow is giving birth to a calf or any animal, the mother cleans the calf by nature, by inherent urge. So cleanliness is actually an inherent process. It is surprising. I didn't think about it. I thought that maybe cleanliness is done with intention. That might be so. But now I am almost convinced that cleanliness is actually an inherent process. It is because if we are not clean, we are in pain, we are in difficulties. So what is cleanliness is something that has come to us or has got attached to me physically or mentally. And yes, it has started giving me pain, started giving me difficulties, started giving me uneasiness, uncomfortable. I am uncomfortable. And hence, I need to take it out. So, we can fairly say that cleanliness would mean to take myself back to where I should have been, to my natural state, my original state. That I would call as purity. So purity is that state of mind, that state of body or physical or environment where it should be naturally. Otherwise, it is impure. Many times we say, but sometimes something is there, but we don't feel pain. In that case, is that impurity? Of course it is. Because the pain that we are talking about might not be visible in the very beginning, might be the cause of pain in future. But nevertheless, if something is not in its natural state, it is not in a good state. It is in a painful state. Same thing with environment. Same thing with the surrounding, same thing with the body, different parts of the body, same thing with the mind. So today in our discussion, we will focus a little bit more on the mind side because that is our meditation practice because of that. Physical purity, more or less, we know that there's no need to discuss much. So purity is to take the matter to its original state. Mind is matter, body is matter. So to take the matter, to take the mind, to take the body to its natural state is purity. Purity is divided into two, inner purity and outer purity. Outer purity we mostly know is the physical body and the surrounding. We know we clean our room every day, we clean our body every day, we clean our surroundings every day, garden every day, whenever we can. So outer purity is very visible and its impact is quite clear. I remember one person telling me, he said, when you go to a kitchen, for example, if the kitchen is clean, a certain level of relaxation immediately comes to us and we feel good about it. But when the dishes are lying down, when things are scattered here and there, then somehow it brings more restlessness. Some of you might have experienced it. So physical purity or physical level of impurity is very easy to discern, easy to see, easy to experience. But today's discussion would be more into the inner aspect of it. So the inner purity has been called as purity of mind, heart, intellect. But nevertheless, we can sum it up and to say that it is the inner instruments or the mind. That is what we call it as inner purity. The question arises is that why inner purity is needed? Why can't we just leave it as it is? What would happen if we don't clean the mind regularly? Some of us very well know that if mind is not cleaned or cleared regularly, then it will perpetuate misunderstanding. We will bring actually individually harm to others through our action, words and deeds. We will actually indirectly harm ourselves. We will know what proper knowledge is, and the mind would always be in restlessness. So in a nutshell, we can say restlessness is impurity and calmness is purity. In a simpler way, we can say. Lahiri Baba had said that in our day-to-day activities, restlessness is inherent. Like that means if we are doing some work, then it is natural that we would be restless. He said, hence, at the end of the day, sit for meditation, purify the mind. Then Baba says, but at the same time, when we sleep, in deep sleep it is okay, but often we get some dreams. Dreams are nothing but reflections of the mind or restless already in the mind. So Baba says that you clean those in the morning meditation. So impurities acquired in the daytime will be cleaned in the evening. Impurities acquired at the time of sleep would be cleaned in the morning. Hence Baba said, meditate at least 2 times a day. At least short period of meditation is fine. Sri Gurudev says, even if you're meditating for a short period of time, even 10 minutes, 5 minutes, it is worth. It can be compared like cleaning the room. On that time, we vacuum our room or clean using brooms. If we don't clean regularly, then the dust will settle more and more and more. So regular cleaning for physical body is needed. We take bath almost every day. If not, we take certain level of we do certain level of cleaning. Similarly, our rooms, our desks, we do cleaning every day regularly. So the masters say that for your mind, it is absolutely necessary that you clean the mind every day, 2 times a day, through meditation. It is interesting, you would be surprised to know that the whole process of meditation, the yogic exercises or the yogic methodology, is a practical method to clean the mind. Why? It is because to take the mind to its original form. So if we define purity to take the matter to its original form, which we talked about it earlier, meditation is a process. Actually, meditation is the process. Meditation is the process through which mind would be taken systematically to its original state. In its original natural state, mind is the most purest matter. Mind is a matter, and the matter is defined as something that you can change. So mind changes, as we know, and mind is the purest matter, the subtlest matter in the creation, and hence, through the process of meditation, mind should be taken to its purest form. When it is taken to its purest form, it reflects the pure consciousness that is the nature of the self or soul. That is the reason why we would like to take the mind to its purest form. If it is not pure, it cannot reflect fully the nature of the soul, which is the consciousness. The question that arises in our mind, that what happened because of which the mind acquired these impurities? Something must have happened. The water gets soiled when it flows in the river and mixes with soil, and it looks muddy. Water by nature is not muddy. Similarly, what happened to the mind because of which the mind became impure? So the masters say that the mind has become impure or has gathered these impurities through a process called association or sangha. Sangha is a Sanskrit word. Sangha means association, combination. So mind, when it gets associated, there is a possibility of acquiring impurities. And over the time, these impurities creates more and more issues, and the more and more association is created, the impurities increase, and thereby we call it the mind that is no more pure. But let us remember very clearly that Sri Ramakrishna had said, he said, never ever call yourself as sinner. He said that is the worst crime you will do to yourself. That's the worst harm we would do to ourselves. Never ever call your sister, Sri Ramakrishna says, never ever call yourself as a sinner. Yes, mistakes have happened because of which the mind is not pure, but it can be purified, and it is a matter of time, practice. But I am not destined to remain in these impurities. So this must be very clear a spiritual seeker, because that's very important. Sri Gurudev said that mistakes are not for mistakes. Sri Gurudev Paramahamsa Hariharanandaji Maharaj, he said, mistakes are not for mistakes, it is for correction. So, mistakes have happened, I identified it, and I'm trying to correct it. While in the process of correction, there is a possibility that it will take a little bit of time for me to completely stop the mistakes and get into corrected mode. But nevertheless, it is possible, and I am going to try it. That is the attitude of a seeker. Spiritual seeker should always have this attitude that I have done mistakes and I'm also doing mistakes. But nevertheless, I am trying to fix those. I am not sitting idle. I have not taken this route of destiny or anything else. I am constantly in the process of correcting myself. And that is the strength of a seeker. That I am constantly trying. I am failing. I am sometimes not succeeding at all. But that's okay. That's fine. That I am constantly trying is actually my endeavor. That is the only thing I can do. One time I actually asked Sri Guruji about it. I said, Baba, the spiritual seeker actually doesn't have much choice. Grace or blessings is not in my hand. It is God's and Guru's hand. I mean, how can we know whether Guru is blessing, not blessing, whether the grace is coming? The scripture says, the masters say, that the blessings are always there, the grace is always there. And yes, at certain level we believe it. But often in our day-to-day activities, when we are in pain, when we are in difficulties, we feel maybe the blessings have left us. Many people, when they are in deep pain, deep difficulties, they feel the void within themselves, that maybe I am forsaken. Like we see in the Bible that Jesus said, "Oh Lord, have you forsaken me? Oh my Father, have you forsaken me?" So it is a possibility that in our life sometimes we feel that are we forsaken? Are we left alone? So the only thing that we can do is try. So Baba said, actually that is actually true. However, if a person is continuously trying, then he would feel continuously the presence of God or presence of Guru's blessings within. So the seeker is expected only to try to correct himself or herself. In the process, the seeker might be failing all the time, but that he is trying again and again is what matters. Anyway, coming back to the impurity aspect of the mind. So mind is infected or has been mixed with certain types of impurities, because of which mind is no more in its original state. What are those impurities? There are many, but it is classified into 5 main categories. It's very simple to understand, but I would request you to focus on this, because this is what is going to help us to self-analyze whether the impurity is content in my mind, how much. The first one is our desire to experience something that has given us happiness before. So for example, suppose, this is a simple example that has been given. Suppose you have never tasted mangoes, and suddenly one day you tasted a very good ripe mango from the Miami ashram. It is tasty, it is organic, very nice. Somewhere in the mind, the desire remained to taste it again. So that memory or that impression at certain point of time will come out, and prompt me to seek for that pleasure or seek for that happiness. If it is a general prompting, it is perfectly fine. But sometimes that desire prompts me to take an action or prompts me to do something, to speak about it, makes me restless, disturbs the mind. So this is actually one impurities. So they call it the impurities of attachment. So this is something to be observed, and I will tell about how to address those in the next section. But this is one kind of impurities. The impurities of attachment, the first one. The second one is many of us have experienced that suppose I want to be something. I want to, let us say, have a good house. And I see somebody having a good house. Somebody is better than me on something I would like to be. So there is a possibility that there would be restlessness because of jealousy. And this, the master says, another critical impurities. So impurities of jealousy is where the mind becomes restless when it comes to know if somebody is better than me on something which I want for myself. So I want to be a good doctor. Somebody is a good doctor. I compare myself with the person and I feel restless, feel unhappy. That is the second type of mental impurities the masters have warned us. The third one, which is a little bit difficult to track, but nevertheless critical, is often in our thoughts, in our deeds, in our words, we hurt others. We want to give pain to others. So suppose somebody has told something to us. We start thinking, what would I do to give that person some kind of pain? This is a very fundamental impurities the masters have said to be aware of, to be cautious. So the third impurities is the promptness or the restlessness of the mind to give pain to others through my words, through my actions, even through my thoughts. The fourth one is actually finding fault. So finding fault when there is a fault is not good, but it is still understood. But often we see in the mind, it can be observed that we find fault in more or less in a good thing also. And generally, that is it is not very easily visible. But we will say that suppose somebody has done, it is my experience actually. In a village, there was one young man who was doing some good work. And some people came and told him, why are you doing this? You must have some self-interest in it. He said, no, I have nothing actually. He said, no. He must have some self-interest in it. Otherwise, why would somebody do good? So often, even a good work, a good gesture, a noble work is looked upon as if there is selfish motive, selfish interest. Even if the person who is doing it doesn't have any. The observer is looking in that way that this person had some selfish interest. And it is because the observer had some problem, not the person who is doing. So this has been called as a very critical mental impurities in the mind. Finding fault, even in good person, in good things, in good work, noble work. So the fifth one is anger. Anger has been considered as a critical impurities. Anger, deep hatred, that kind of thing. We know that, it doesn't need a lot of elaboration. The sixth one, I actually wrongly mentioned that we have 5 impurities, there are 6 apparently. The sixth one is when somebody tells us or insults us, we go through certain level of restlessness in our mind. So that has been called as an impurities. So there are 6 impurities, the masters say, are core impurities of the mind, because of which the mind has moved from a state of natural existence to a state where it is no more reflecting true knowledge. So cleaning of this restlessness, the 6 ones, desire, jealousy, harming others, finding fault in good things, anger and dislike, disturbances when we get insulted or when we hear something not good about ourselves. This needs to be corrected. How it can be corrected? The masters have given 4 formulas. They say that if you see something good, happy, be a friend, be conducive to that. So if you see somebody happy, jolly guy, be a friend to him. Same thing with the mind. If we see, observe a happy, good thought, cultivate it. Then this reminds me of Gurudev's teaching that if a good thought is coming, the masters say that pray to God, oh Lord, thank you for this good thought. Give me the courage, strength, and resources to fulfill this good thought. So suppose you are getting a good thought to plant some trees. So we would pray, oh Master, this is a very holy thought you are giving me, very good thought you are, noble thought you are giving me. Please give me strength, courage, and resources so that I can fulfill this thought. So the master said that when a good thought is coming, cultivate it. That is the first way to address the impurities of the mind. The second one, if you see a sad thought is coming or a sad person is coming who is in pain, difficulties, have compassion. Compassion means forgive. Okay, the person is in pain. I remember one instance when somebody was going through some health difficulties, and the person was continuously moaning with difficulties, pain in the body and joints. But when you talk to that person, he was a little bit harsh in his behavior. He would say, oh, this, even if something is right, he would say that is not right, this is not right. But the person who is tending to the sick person, must have the patience, must have the thought process that look, he is in pain. This pain is causing this harshness. So physical pain causing physical harshness through words. Mental pain will come as mental harshness through thoughts, through words and deeds eventually. So if somebody is in pain and creating difficulties for us, the masters say that think about the pain or the mental pain that person is going through. Have compassion on that person. That would help us. Within, there is a possibility that sometimes we also get mental pain within ourselves. At that time, have compassion on ourselves. Don't be harsh. Master said, don't be harsh on yourself. Don't punish yourself. If you are in pain, have compassion on yourself. The third method of purifying the mind is that when a noble thought is coming, when a auspicious idea is coming, or an auspicious person is coming, be joyful and happy about it. Don't feel jealous. So many times we'll come across people who are more successful than us. In different parameters, they are better than us. The master said, be happy for them. It sounds very easy, but it is a little difficult to practice, but can be practiced. Be happy with them. The fourth one is that when you see somebody who is unholy, don't engage, ignore them. So in our life, there would be situations within our mind, also externally. There would be people who by nature, who has cultivated that nature of inauspiciousness, unholiness. Like you would see, there are people who lie for absolutely no reason. There are people who create difficulties without any cause. The master said, ignore them. Ignore them. That is the best policy. So 4 methodologies. Be with happiness. Have compassion on sadness. Be joyful when you see somebody holy. And ignore if the person is bringing something negative. The master said that when these 4 techniques are applied in the mind for external agencies, to deal with external agencies, or to deal with even our own mind would be purified, and the restlessness that we are talking will slowly go away. So we talked about what is purity. We talked about why purity has been compromised or infected with impurities. We talked about different types of impurities. We talked about the methodologies to purify the mind. Now, often we tell ourselves that, look, I have done what I am supposed to do. I meditate regularly. I clean my mind. Physically also, my room, my external environment is clean as much as I can do. So I am clean. I am purified. So the masters have not left this statement as it is, because claiming doesn't help. There should be some verification method so that I can validate that whether the process the masters have given is working for me, or whether I am doing due diligence to purify my mind and the body. My physical part is known, it can be visualized, you can see it. But how do I know that I am pure in mind? We claim, very natural to do that. People say, I have lived a good life. I have not harmed anybody. I am clean. I have done best. Fair enough. How do somebody, a seeker, verify that my mind is clean? What are the manifestation or what are the signs that we can see of a purified mind? So the masters have given some techniques. So to examine that I am purified, the first thing that should come to us is a cheerfulness of the life, a cheerfulness of the mind. So a spontaneous cheerfulness is a sign of mental purity. Again, a spontaneous cheerfulness, not forced smile, not like that. A spontaneous cheerfulness is a sign of mental purity. We can go back to our notebook and ask ourselves, in a general day, am I more or less cheerful, happy and jolly? Or I am constantly struggling in my mind to be happy? If not, if it is so that mind is not in spontaneously joyful, then it is prudent, it is necessary to go back to the methodology of cleaning the mind, being a friend to happiness, compassion, happy for noble thoughts, and ignoring unholy thoughts. So the first sign of a pure mind is cheerfulness. The second sign of the more the purified the mind is, the second sign that will come along with purity of mind, it would come focused mind or peaceful mind. So it would be easy to focus on a goal. It would be easy. Actually, the goal here is spiritual goal, definitely not a material goal. It would be simple at the time to remember God's presence in our life. That would be the second sign of a more purified mind. So most of us forget God's presence in our mind, forget the breath. So it is a sign that we are not doing what we can do. The third sign of a purified mind is control over sense organs, or in a more better sense, transformation of the sense organs. So the eyes will go for goodness. The ear would want to hear good things. The speech will always tell good things. These are the signs that the mind has become purified. So if we get joy hearing somebody else's fault or negativities, then we should ask ourselves how much pure the mind is. The fourth sign of purified mind is desire for God realization. So a purified mind would always desire to realize truth, to realize self. If that desire is not constant, that means work needs to be done to purify the mind. So to understand whether, to verify whether my mind is getting purified and I am progressing or not, the master has given, check whether by inherently, spontaneously you are happy and cheerful. Check whether the mind is getting concentrated, you are focused or not. Check whether your organs has transformed itself to seek goodness, to seek purity. Eyes want to see good, ears want to hear good. Ask that questions to yourself. And the last one, that whether the desire for self-realization is becoming more and more stronger or not. These are the signs of mental purity. So I hope this is actually the preparation a seeker must do for God realization, for self-realization. If these preparations are not done by us, then even if we practice would not be beneficial. So the master say, the Guru say, that the foundation of spiritual life, one of the foundation, is purity of the mind. The journey of spiritual life is to purify the mind. Hence, we cannot avoid it and skip it and reach the goal. That would not be possible. So I hope that I was able to give a little context what could be mental purity. I did not bring physical purity because it is something all of us are quite familiar with. So with this idea, I hope you will have tools with yourselves to self-analyze. Hariharananda Baba says in a Bengali verse, I do not remember completely. He said, Podena nijoro dosh apani dosh apani noyani. Means, if my own fault is not visible to me, then he says, ta nohele samadhan hoibo kemone. If that is not happening, then how the solution is going to come? So it is imperative that as spiritual seeker, we constantly observe ourselves and constantly analyze and see when and where these impurities are getting expressed or visible. Many times the mental impurities would not be visible, would not be known. But at least when it is visible, we can take action. It is not a helpless situation. So again, coming back to Sri Ramakrishna's teachings or words, please do not consider yourself that you are a sinner and you cannot get rid of the sin. Sin is this impurities as sin, basically. Yes, I have done mistakes and hence the impurities have gathered in my mind. In my mind house, I have been given tools, vacuum cleaners, and I can clean those. It is possible, it is doable, and it can start now. We don't have to wait for tomorrow. If we all carry this attitude and we inspire each other, because not always, somebody would always be there to inspire us. The masters have told, you are the guide of yourselves. Here, means together. So whenever possible, we inspire ourselves. We inspire ourselves all the time, and we inspire each other when there is a necessity. Then definitely, without any doubt, together, hand in hand, we can move forward from impurities to purities, an impure mind to pure mind, from ignorance to knowledge, from misunderstanding to proper understanding. This is actually spiritual path. That is where we are together. That is where we need each other. That is where we help each other. So this is my understanding of purity, and this is how I understand that purity can be implemented in life at an individual level and also at group level. So hopefully, I'm very hopeful that this is something that you can practice yourselves and also tell it to others when there is an option or possibility. We'll do a few minutes of meditation on purity. We will try the techniques. So this is how we'll do. We will sit down with eyes closed, and then we will observe the thoughts. When a good thought is coming, pray to God as Gurudev has suggested. When a bad thought is coming, reject it. When a holy thought is coming, be happy about it. When an unholy thought is coming, ignore it. So today we'll practice this technique ourselves for a few minutes. We have 6 minutes left from our 1 hour. So we'll practice this. Please practice yourselves. There is nothing to guide. Four tools for 4 kinds of thoughts. Let us do that. Let us close our eyes. After the meditation, I will do closing prayer. So till then, please continue this practice. With eyes closed, attention in the fontanel, calmly observe the thoughts and take the actions necessary. Ignore when the thought is unholy. Joyful when the thought is holy. Have compassion when it is a sad thought, depressive thought. Be a friend to a good thought. Om Tat Sat Om. May the blessings of God and Gurus be upon us all. May there be no ill feeling, ill will within ourselves for anyone. May there be auspicious thoughts within us for everyone. May the mind be pure. May with the grace of God and Masters we move from ignorance to knowledge, from darkness to light, from falsehood to truth, from the idea of limitedness, mortality, to idea of unlimitedness, immortality. May the blessings of God and Gurus guide each of us in each and every moment. May we all feel the blessings continuously. I bow to you all. May the blessings of God and Gurus guide us all. Thank you. Om Tat Sat Om.